In the last two Generation 5 solo runs, I've established new personal bests with Druddigan, getting my best in-game time at 5 hours and 17 minutes. Then Stoutland came along and crushed it, establishing a new personal best in both in-game time and real time. Not just for the main game, but also the post-game of Black and White. And today, I think we have a contender that might be able to dethrone it in Excadrill. The rules for the solo challenge are on screen, but they're also in the description down below. Excadrill is a beast of a Pokemon, and it recently got a new Mega Evolution in Pokemon Legends ZA, although I'm not the biggest fan of its Mega design. For base stats, it has 110 HP, 135 attack, 60 defense, 50 special attack, 65 special defense, and 88 speed. For a Pokemon who's part Steel type, it's faster than I thought, and the lower physical defense is a bit surprising considering Steel and Ground types tend to be some of the most physically defensive Pokemon in the series. To help out with my speed for the late and post game, I'm going to be going with a Jolly Nature, boosting my speed while lowering my special attack in the process, because I don't plan on using any special moves after the first gym. Its one starting same type attack bonus move is Mud Slap, which is a special move, and a weak one at that, but the fact that it lowers accuracy will be useful for the early Charon battles and for Chili. Excadrill is also in the medium fast level up group, so after defeating my rivals in my bedroom, I'm still only level 5. But once I defeat N, I jump from level 5 to level 7. And as I make my way to Striaton City, I'm only going to fight the one mandatory trainer, youngster Jimmy, before facing Bianca. Her Oshawott does have Water Gun by this point, but she doesn't go for it, and this is a pretty easy battle for Excadrill. Once I arrive in Striaton City, I head to the Dream Yard for some extra training and to grab my Elemental Monkey, because Charon at the trainer school can prove to cause problems sometimes. I didn't bother healing before battling him. And I'm also getting low on both Scratch and Mudslap PP. I didn't heal at the Striaton Pokemon Center to try and save some time. Luckily, Tepig misses enough embers for me to get through this one, because I actually started this playthrough twice. Once because Waitress Tia's Patrat in the gym went for Bide, I couldn't knock it out fast enough and it destroyed Excadrill. And taking the Blackout put me back into Cumula Town, and the second time was losing to Charon at the trainer school and getting sent back to the same Blackout point. When I recorded this run, it was also pretty late in the day, and I planned on going to bed once I had finished. And I've said this in videos in the past, but I'm not a fan of restarting runs over and over and over once you get going. While in the gym, I do run out of Scratch PP, but Excadrill hits level 12 and can learn Fury Swipes, which I teach in the place of Mud Sport. This move, along with my 4 PP left of Mud Slap, will hopefully be enough to get me past Chili. Lillipup is his lead, and my first use of Fury Swipes hits twice as it sets up with Work Up. However, my next use of the move hits 4 times to take out his lead, moving on to his ace Pansear. I go for Mud Slap since it's super effective and will lower Pansear's accuracy, but it gets through the accuracy loss to hit and incinerate, doing just under a quarter. My second Mud Slap gets a critical hit, bringing the Fire Monkey to low yellow health as it goes for Work Up. I wasn't sure if Chili would use a potion here or not, so I decided to go for Fury Swipes, because if I can get at least 3 hits, I should win. And my first hit gets a critical hit to finish off the monkey, winning me the Trio Badge. It's a shame that Excadrill doesn't learn Work Up, but it still gets a setup move pretty early, and an even better one later on. And why don't we take this time to look at its move pool? Through Level Up, this thing gets some nice physical options. Metal Claw at 15 for a decent stab move for this part in the game, although I wish it got Iron Head. It does get this move by Tutor in Black and White too. Dig at 19, which is fantastic. Hone Claws at 22, Slash at 26, Rock Slide at 29, a one-hit KO move in Horn Drill at 31, Earthquake at 36, Swords Dance at 42 to really unlock this thing, Sandstorm at 49, Drill Run at 55, and I believe this was the signature move of the Drillbur line at the time of release of these games, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And finally, Fissure at 62. Through TM, it gets what you would expect in moves like Earthquake, Return, Dig, Brick Break, Sandstorm, Rock Tomb, and Aerial Ace, just to name a few. There are some nice coverage options like Shadow Claw for Ghost and Psychic types, X-Scissor for Grass, Psychic, and Dark types, and Poison Jab for any grass types you might come across, but the most annoying ones in any playthrough are Bergsley Vanny and Marshall's Breloom. In terms of abilities, it has Sand Rush, which boosts your speed in a sandstorm, and Sand Force, which boosts the power of rock, ground, and steel type moves in a sandstorm. Neither of these really come into play in a solo run except for when you battle Charon in the desert. For this run, I chose Sand Force. Its hidden ability is Mold Breaker, which allows you to break the mold, but that also prints text and wastes frames every battle, overall slowing the playthrough down. Alright, I've covered everything while we did the Dreamyard stuff in the background. I battled one optional trainer in order to grab the hidden Ultra Ball here on Route 3, and I'm going to take a safety save, which isn't really needed, and face Charon. I say it's not needed because I can just black out if needed, since it's not a long run back from Striaton City. Thankfully, Tepig spends more time going for defense curl than attacking with Ember, and the Purloin is easy to clean up. In Wellspring Cave, I make sure to catch my HM users, and this place is super important for a Pokemon that I'm currently planning. And if you're tired of seeing me play these good Pokemon and want to see me play some really bad ones, just wait. I grab the rare candy on Route 3 and enter Nakarine City. Charon gives you Chesto Berries once you enter, but I'm going to head west towards Pinwheel Forest. I'm going to grab the TM for Rock Smash, which I do teach for Lenora and her trainers. I'm also going to battle the nurse so I can get a quick free heal later on when I have to enter Pinwheel Forest. But something unfortunate happens. I go hunting for a Timpole to fill up my party, and cross my fingers that it has a Persim Berry which I could use later on. I go for Mud Slap to weaken it a bit, and it hits me with Bubble Beam doing massive damage. At this point, I'm dead to another hit, so I throw a ball, it breaks out, and knocks out Excadrill, giving me a blackout. I don't think I've ever had a blackout to a wild Pokemon in any solo run. My luck is not about to get any better though, because I have to battle N before entering the gym, and his second Pokemon is a Timpole, and it manages to hit me with 2 Bubble Beams, bringing me to 8 HP before I knock it out. His final Pokemon is a Timber, and it has a fighting move in Low Kick. I figured my best bet was Fury Swipes, hoping for a 5-hit combo and a crit or 2. I miss my first as Timber goes for Focus Energy. My second use of the move gets a critical hit with the first hit, but it only hits 2 more times after that, and Timber finishes me with a Low Kick for my second blackout. This playthrough hasn't been going well. Restarting, blacking out to wild Pokemon, and N? What's going on? Stoutland didn't get its first fault until the post-game when I was blackout grinding on Cynthia, and didn't get its first reset until round 2 of the Elite Four. Luckily, the second battle against N goes in my favor. Timpole just goes for Supersonic instead of Bubble Beam, and Fury Swipes takes it out. And while Timber does hit me with a Leer, I'm able to survive its Low Kick with 9 HP remaining, and I can finish it off with a Scratch. When I first sat down to do this playthrough, I was confident Excadrill would get a first try victory against Lenora like Druddigon and Stoutland did, but with these early faults and blunders, I'm not so sure now. I'm going to put on a Chesto Berry just in case things go my way though. Her lead is Herdier. It lowers my attack with Intimidate one stage, but Rock Smash gets a critical hit to one-shot her lead. Okay, that's a good start. Excadrill levels up to 19 and can learn Dig, which I teach in the place of Mud Slap. Before her Ace Watchog comes out, I decide to put my new move to use. My first use does what looks like half, as Retaliate does pathetic damage, but my second leaves Watchog on low red health as it misses Hypnosis. Lenora uses her Super Potion as Rock Smash gets a critical hit to bring Watchog back to red health, and I can finish her ace the next turn. A first try victory at Lenora. There's one thing I want to mention in Pinwheel Forest, and I'm going to freeze frame it here. If you're not looking at the screen, look really quickly. This patch of grass was shaking, and it's a wild Audino, which are fantastic for experience. I've gotten questions in the past if I do Audino training or why I don't do it, and I'll be real, if it wasn't in my immediate path, would you have seen it on 4 times speed? When you're focused on going as fast as possible, you don't always spot shaky grass. and I think it's something people don't understand. It's like watching sports and complaining that a quarterback didn't throw to someone who was open. It's easy to see from the stands where they should go with the ball, because you're not the one on the field with 300-pound linemen breathing down your neck trying to break you in half. Hell, I've been learning Alpha Sapphire in my spare time, and I don't even notice the shaky grass or whatever it's called in those games. After knocking out the Audino though, Excadrill levels up to 22 and can learn its first setup move in Hone Claws, which I teach in the place of Scratch. As I exit the forest, I grab the Quick Claw from this hiker. I don't know why, Excadrill shouldn't need this item, but despite the early game blunders, Excadrill is going to be making it into Castelia City with just under 20 minutes real time on the clock, which for me is a good indication that a Pokemon is going to be great. Once I enter Castelia City, I'm actually going to skip grabbing the rest TM for now. I do the Team Plasma stuff and head straight for Berg's gym. Since I'm part Steel type, I don't need to worry about Poison Point from the Venipedes. And Berg is not a problem for Excadrill. Whirlipede is first, and I start by setting up 2 Hone Claws as it goes for Screech, hitting once. Metal Claw leaves it on a sliver as it misses another Screech. During the Hyper Potion turn, I set up a 3rd Hone Claws, which allows Metal Claw to get the one-shot. He sends in his Ace Leavanny second, and this thing wastes my time with Protect and tries to speed control me with String Shot. I do get Berg to burn through another Hyper Potion and end up one-shotting thanks to a crit. Dwebble is last, and Metal Claw is super effective and gets the one-shot. The battle against Bianca as I leave town is kind of worth talking about. I set up twice on her Herdier with Hone Claw, so I'm at +1 and one-shot it with Rock Smash. I stick with this move for Duat, doing half, as Razor Shell does about half to me. Luckily I take it out the next turn. I have Dig for her Panseer, which gets the one-shot, and Excadrill levels up to 26 and can learn Slash, which I delete Rock Smash for. Then, I use this move to delete Muna and win the battle. Charon in the desert is really easy. I can just one-shot sweep his team, and I get to use my ability in this battle. In Nimbasa City, I do the regular errands, grabbing the HM for strength, playing Dress Up with Bianca, rocking the grass skirt and tennis racket. I purchased the return TM as something to have in my back pocket, and after riding the Ferris wheel with N, I crush him. No blackouts to him here. And Elisa is really easy. I'm a ground steel type, her Emolgas don't have anything that can deal significant damage, and only her Zebstrika has a super effective move in Flame Charge. Since the Emolgas can't do anything to me, I set up with Hone Claws and just sweep with Slash, triggering static on her last Emolga when it doesn't matter. The battle against Charon as I leave town is really easy. I leveled up after knocking out his lead Liepard and learned Rock Slide. I can't use it against Tranquil because of Taunt though, but I can just use Slash to one-shot it. In Driftville City, this nurse blocks my way at first to grab the Expert Belt, which is slightly annoying, and after going through the cold storage, I head to Clay's gym. The trainers don't cause too many problems. If I don't one-shot something, I risk getting hit with a ground move or a water type move from the Palpitoads in the gym, and I'm really close to level 36 when Excadrill will get its strongest ground type move, Earthquake. I could have used candies to learn this move, but there isn't a point to do so. I shouldn't have any problems against Clay to where I need this move, although I do wish I had that Persimberry. Krokorok is his lead. I didn't want to try and set up on it because I didn't want to get hit with Swagger, so I go for Slash, leaving it on low yellow health as it hits me with a Bulldoze, doing a third and lowering my speed in the process. The good thing is that although Clay uses his Hyper Potion, I'm still faster than his lead and take it out. He sends in Palpitoad next, which just goes for Aqua Ring as Dig one-shots. Last is the mirror match of Excadrill versus Excadrill. Because of the speed drop from Bulldoze, his Excadrill is faster and sets up Hone Claws, but because I use Dig, it just misses Bulldoze as Dig one-shots it. 5 for 5 for first tries on gym leaders. Clay doesn't give you the TM for Bulldoze until you reach Chargestone Cave, but we're about to learn Earthquake anyway, so let's head there now. But first we have to battle Bianca as we leave town. Against her lead Herdier, I set up Hone Claws to get my attack back to neutral before one-shotting it with Slash. Dewott is next and Slash leaves it at a quarter HP. Its Retaliating Razor Shell gets a massive critical hit, and while I can take it out the next turn, the hail damage leaves me at 2 HP, and even though I can take out Pansear for some extra experience points, the hail takes me out and I have to take another blackout. That's 3 so far in this playthrough. In the next battle, I accidentally set up 4 times with Hone Claws. I meant to only use 3, but perhaps +3 will be exactly what I need. I one-shot Herdier, one-shot Dewott, level up to 36 and learn Earthquake in the place of Dig, Slash then one-shots Pansear, and I use my new move, Earthquake, for Musharna, getting the sweep. In Chargestone Cave, there's this Plasma Grunt Gauntlet that you have to go through, and the Watchhogs are annoying because they like to confuse you, put you to sleep, and half your HP with Super Fang, but Excadrill doesn't have a problem with any of them today. There's also the Rare Candy and the Bright Powder in the basement of Chargestone Cave, but I'm going to be skipping those for now. We'll grab them in the post-game. I have a battle against N before I can leave Chargestone Cave. The Bulldor is a 2-hit KO thanks to its sturdy ability, but I decided to set up Hone Claws before knocking it out. It's hitting me with Mud Slap, which is funny because Hone Claws will cancel out the accuracy loss from it. I set up to +2 and just one-shot the rest of his party with Earthquake. Mistralton City and the Celestial Tower. I make sure to withdraw my HM users this week. No silly little time losses today, although the blackouts kind of counter that. Anyway, at the top of the tower, Skyla tells me to ring her bell like the song, so I do and send her back to her gym. I know people in the community say Skyla is the second worst gym leader in these games, and this battle kind of shows that. Honestly, I should have just put my cursor on Rock Slide and left it there until the battle was over, but instead, I set up twice with Hone Claws and leave it on Slash, with only the Unpheasant surviving a hit, but I get a better roll on my next attack to one-shot it. Sharon before Twist Mountain is really easy. I one-shot sweep his team. The only thing worth noting is that after I knock out Pig Knight, I level up to 42 and can learn Swords Dance, which is an immediate upgrade over Hone Claws. In Twist Mountain, I'm going to grab the Winter Rare Candy and skip grabbing Substitute. That's going to be another one of those grab it for the post-game things. In the Icera City Pokemon Center, I grab the TM for Brick Break from the old lady, I grab the rare candy you can only get in winter, and then head to the gym. But this week, it isn't Bryson who beats me or gives me a reset, it's one of his gym trainers, Battle Girl Mikiko. I hope I said that correctly. She has 2 Pokemon, a Cubchoo and Vanillish. The Cubchoo isn't a problem, it's just annoying and likes to spam Endure. I can take it out with Slash, but the Vanillish hangs on from a Slash, and its Ice Beam freezes Excadrill. Are you kidding me? I hold out hope that Excadrill will thaw out, but it doesn't, and I have to take a slow blackout letting all of my HM users faint, which you don't have to see thanks to the power of video editing. I do get revenge in the next battle. I set up to +6 on Cubchoo and just wreck the Vanillish. I wasn't going to take any chances. I figured Bryson deserved an intro this week since one of his trainers defeated me, but as Shadow Stitch says, Bryson is an absolute joke this week. After setting up to +4, I one-shot Vanillish and Beartic with Earthquake. I accidentally use it on Cryogonal, but it doesn't affect it because of Levitate. Aurora Beam does pathetic damage and I just knock it out with a Slash. Dragon Spiral Tower, and today we're going to be taking the role of Jaden Yugi while here, because there's only one monster that makes sense for Excadrill, and that's Neospatian Grand Mole. You can't tell me otherwise for this. Anyway, we have to drive Team Plasma out of here, and there's really nothing else of relevance. So after I finish up business here, I'm going to do some quick errands, which is grabbing the hidden rare candy in the desert resort and battling this ranger for a Rost Berry after I descend into the basement of Relic Castle. After I get the Lightstone from Lenora, I can head into the museum and revive the cover fossil I got in the Relic Castle into Tortuga, so I have a full party for the late game. Remember, I failed to catch a Timpole early on. I grabbed the Pinwheel Forest candy and the Route 2 candy before heading to Driftville to grab the Shell Bell from the old man. Before I can enter Opalucid City, I have to battle Bianca. I'm not going to bother showing this one since I just set up with Swords Dance and one-shot sweep her team, so why don't we just cut straight to the 8th gym leader, Drayden. When it comes to an 8th gym leader, and just dragon gym leaders or dragon type specialists in general, Drayden and Iris, at least in Black and White 1, disappoint. I played Black and White 2 on stream in late May, early June of 2024, and I haven't touched them since. I should go back and finish them. I left off near the end of the game at the Team Plasma headquarters or someplace like that after beating Marlin, and I don't really remember how Drayden was as a gym leader in that game. I know Iris is the champion, and while I haven't faced her myself, perhaps someone else can speak to if she's a difficult champion or not. After beating Drayden though, I have to face Charon before entering Victory Road. The battle is easy, just set up and sweep. In Victory Road, I'm going to pick up the rare candy that you have to surf to, and is it just me, or does anyone else forget to teach surf until they get to this point? Just mashing A on the water and wondering why the option to surf isn't popping up. Forgetting to teach this move until now isn't a big deal though. There's not a mandatory use of the move, which is really nice, and the only mandatory use of an HM in the entire game is Cut in the Dream Yard. I've been rambling since facing Drayden, so let's go ahead and face the Elite Four. We're going to start things off with Caitlyn, and things end quickly, but not in my favor. Reuniqueless has Focus Blast, which deals massive damage after Slash fails to get the one-shot. I thought she would go for a full restore on her second turn, so I set up Swords Dance, but it goes for Focus Blast again, hitting and giving me my first reset of the run. In the next battle, I set up turn 1 knowing I can tank a Focus Blast and put the Shell Bell on, but it just misses the move. I knock it out, level up to 55 and can learn Drill Run. I'm going to skip this move because Earthquake is the higher base power and superior move. The following Sigilif hangs on from Slash and hits me with Ice Beam, doing about a quarter and not freezing. Since she's going to use a full restore, I set up another Swords Dance to guarantee the one shot. I leave my cursor on Slash for Musharna, and at +4, it barely hangs on from the move as Psychic deals pathetic damage. I'm not going to set up anymore though, I just leave my cursor on Slash to take out the bulky Psychic type before one-shotting her ace Gothitelle with Earthquake. Next is Chantal. I put the Rossberry on for this battle, anticipating Cofagrigus would use Will-O-Wisp, but it just uses Shadow Ball twice, and at +4, I'm able to sweep her team with Earthquake. I didn't expect her battle to be this easy. Grimsley is next. Against Scrafty, I set up Swords Dance as it hits me with a Sand attack. I knock it out with Earthquake and move on to Crocodile. Its Intimidate brings my attack to +1, and Earthquake misses thanks to Scrafty's Sand attack. Its Earthquake deals massive damage, but the good news is that at +1, I can still one-shot it with my own Earthquake. Unfortunately against Bisharp, I miss my next two, and its Night Slash is able to finish me for my second reset. In the next battle, I get hit by a Sand attack from Scrafty and a Brick Break on top of it, but I don't miss against Crocodile or Bisharp. I do miss twice on Liepard before Slash takes it out though. Now we have Marshall, our toughest matchup. I start by setting up Swords Dance as Throw hits me with Bulldoze, which deals decent damage and lowers my speed. I misclick going for Slash instead of Earthquake, which the fighting type hangs on from and hits me with a second Bulldoze, bringing my speed to -2. While I'm still faster than it and the following Conkeldurr, who I one-shot with Earthquake, Mienshao is faster and Jump Kick ends me. I make it back to Mienshao in the next battle with my speed only at -1. It's still faster and Jump Kick brings me from nearly full HP to 13. A +2 Earthquake one-shots it, but Sawk is going to clean me up, and that's another loss to Marshall. I've picked up 7 rare candies and will grab an 8th in End's Castle. I'm going to use 6 to go from level 57 to 63 above 3 damage rounding thresholds, but I'm also hoping I'll at least be faster than Mienshao. At level 62, I have the opportunity to learn Fissure, but I'm going to skip this move. But there's a Pokemon I'll be playing in the near future that I believe is going to have to utilize this move. In this attempt against Marshall, I decide to go straight offense. Earthquake leaves Throw on low red health, and it goes for Storm Throw. I'll take that over Bulldoze. Since he's going to heal it, I go for Swords Dance for some setup, and then I one-shot it, Conkeldurr, and at the higher level, I am faster than Mienshao. And thanks to the Shell Bell, I have green health for Sawk. It's going to take 2 hits to knock it out thanks to Sturdy, but it can't do nearly enough to Excadrill with Karate Chop, and after Marshall runs out of healing items, victory is mine. Before taking on N, I'm going to use my last 2 candies to get to level 65. I'm going to leave my moves the same as well. I could have swapped out Slash for Return just to have some extra oomph, but I have Swords Dance, Rock Slide, and Earthquake, and honestly, that's all I need for the final 2 trainers. N's lead is Zekrom. It's programmed to go for Fusion Bolt turn 1, but since I'm immune to the move, it chooses Light Screen instead. This lets me set up Swords Dance turn 1, and that's all Excadrill needs to sweep his team. We're going to jump right into the battle against Getsus because it's more of the same. His Coffagrigus likes to use Toxic turn 1 against you, which is why I normally teach Substitute for this battle or have a held Pecha Berry, or utilize the good old Resto Chesto strats, but since I'm immune to the move, I can set up to +6, which was probably overkill, and one-shot sweep his team. Excadrill clocks in with a real time of 1 hour, 23 minutes, and 8 seconds, nearly 4 minutes behind Stoutland's real time, at level 67, but with an in-game time of 4 hours and 53 minutes. My first sub 5-hour time in these games, at long last, and with its performance it earns itself the top spot on the main game tier list, despite some unfortunate blackouts. We're getting some nice variety in this tier list. I do want to mention that I plan on redoing some of my older runs, like the starters, Volcarona, and maybe even Excadrill and Haxorus, in my spare time. I know the starters can rank much better, and I think Golurk could move up to the B tier. I may stream those attempts, but I'm not going to make them as videos. I also probably won't redo the postgame with them. I may just leave the postgame for first attempts. But speaking of the postgame, let's hop right into it. The first thing I'm going to do is pick up candies I skipped prior. Let's start with the Chargestone Cave candy. While here, I could grab the Bright Powder, but I'm going to be skipping it for this playthrough. I also grabbed the Anvil Town candy and Route 16 candy before heading to the eastern region of Unova to Undella Town for some blackout grinding against Cynthia, and honestly, as of right now, Excadrill has all the tools except one to defeat her, which is Substitute. During the blackout grind, I can make it to her Garchomp consistently, but it outspeeds and hits me with Earthquake to just one-shot me. Since I'm going to be doing this for a while, it would be nice to have Substitute just to be able to knock out 5 of her Pokemon instead of 3. So after a few blackouts, I run some more errands. I head to Castelia City to grab the TM for rest as a just in case, and take a quick trip to Twist Mountain for Substitute. I'm just going to cut to the winning attempt against Cynthia now, and as you can see, with setup and Substitute, she's easy. Garchomp is the only Pokemon I don't outspeed despite having 193 speed. Pokelink just isn't updating quite fast enough there, and the Sinnoh champion goes down. The only thing left to do is to take on round 2 of the league. I've got the 3 candies I picked up, skipping out on the Lostlorn candy, Abundant Shrine candy, Mistrolton Cave, and Challenger's Cave candies, all of which are just kind of out of the way. Once again, we're starting with Caitlyn. She's really easy. Set up Substitute, set up Swords Dance. I don't one-shot Musharna, which is a bit annoying, but the rest of her team is a one-shot sweep. Well, I also have to two-shot Bronzong because it has Levitate. A bit annoying, but it's fine. Chantal, also really easy. Set up Substitute on the Coffin, block its Will-O-Wisp, set up Swords Dance, and sweep. Round 2 Grimsley is usually a problem. His lead Sharpedo is quite fast and can hit hard with moves like Waterfall, Night Slash, and Earthquake, but we're faster and one-shot the frail shark-looking Pokemon. I take a bit of risk on Crocodile. With my attack at -1, I didn't think Earthquake would one-shot it, so I set up a Swords Dance, and its own Earthquake brings me from full health to 25. At +1, I can one-shot it with Earthquake, the following Scrafty, and Drapion, and the healing from the Shell Bell gets me to about a third of my HP for Liepard. It hits me with a weak Fake Out, but Excadrill is faster, one-shotting it with Earthquake and his final Pokemon Bisharp. But now we have round 2 Marshall, who tends to cause problems for Pokemon he has a type advantage against, all because of his Sawk and its Sturdy ability. His lead Breloom almost always uses Spore Spore turn 1, so I set up Substitute to block it and get lucky as it goes for Spore a second turn in a row as I set up Swords Dance. I don't think +2 will be enough to one-shot since it resists both my attacks, so I set up to +4 as Sky Uppercut breaks my sub. I try to re-establish it, but it goes for Sky Uppercut again, breaking it. I've got no choice but to go on the offensive. Earthquake one-shots his lead and the following Mienshao, but Sawk hangs on thanks to its sturdy ability, and close combat ends me. I take a quick reset in the second battle. I want a sub in place for Sawk, and I go for Rock Slide on Breloom hoping for a flinch, which I don't get. I don't have a sub in place when I knock it out, and instead of waiting for Sawk to finish me, I just reset on Mienshao. Battle number 3. Substitute to block Spore. Set up Swords Dance as it fails another Spore. Now, is +2 enough to one-shot Breloom with Earthquake? No, it isn't, and Sky Uppercut breaks my sub. Since Marshall's going to use a full restore, I set up another and roll the dice again, but once again, Earthquake leaves it on low red health, but I get lucky with Breloom missing Sky Uppercut. I finish it, knock out Mienshao, and with a sub in place and Marshall out of healing items, I can get by Sawk with ease, and one-shot Throw, Toxicroak, and Conkeldurr with Earthquake. Now, let's take on Alder. Excadrill is the lead. It's faster and Focus Blast deals so much damage. I didn't bother with setup, just going for Rock Slide, which will one-shot the frail bug. He sends in his ace Volcarona next, but Excadrill is faster, and Rock Slide with its 4x super effective damage one-shots the flaming moth. Druddigon follows and Earthquake leaves it on low red health. It retaliates with Superpower, which takes me out. It looks like I'm going to need at least one turn of setup. I don't get it in the next battle because Excadrill just no-scopes me with Focus Miss twice. But in the third battle, it goes for me first, letting me get a turn of setup in before tanking a Focus Blast from it. Rock Slide then one-shots it and Volcarona. Earthquake at +2 is enough to one-shot Druddigon, Bouffalant, and Vanillix, and Earthquake is enough to one-shot the tanky armored bug as Cavalier, winning me the battle. Excadrill finishes the postgame with a real time of 18 minutes and 45 seconds, beating out Stoutland's real time by nearly 40 seconds, at level 84 with a cumulative game time of 5 hours and 51 minutes. Just a dominant performance all around. Stoutland held the top spot in both tier lists for 2 weeks, but Excadrill dethrones it in both the main game and post-game tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed this run, and I've been having a lot of fun playing some really good Pokemon in these games, but I think it's time we play a really bad Pokemon. At the time of this voiceover, I still haven't finished this run, and I'll be honest, I don't know when it will be finished, because this Pokemon is terrible. You probably already know who it is. It's Cofagrigus. I'll probably have some other runs and Nuzlocks in the meantime before this thing comes out, because it's bad. As always, thank you for the continued support on the channel. We recently passed 2100 subs a while ago, and I just want to say thank you. When I started this channel as a hobby years ago, I never thought I would get 1,000 subs, let alone 2,000. Special shout out to the channel members, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. Take care, everybody.